What's up guys, so welcome back to the forex channel. So in today's video I'm going to be doing something a little bit different because I have actually just managed to pass the myfundedfx $10,000 challenge and evaluation, so both stages, and I have now the real $10,000 account. So I'm going to be taking you through the exact risk management strategy I used, and I'm going to also break down one of the trades that I used to get funded. I don't really have enough time to go through every single trade I took, so I'm just going to go through one of the best trades that I took in order to pass the challenge. So if we get straight into it, and I'll first of all take you through the stats, and then we'll get into the full strategy that I used to pass. So let's do it. Alright guys, so first of all, if we go through the stats, so this is for the phase 2 account. myfundedfx, I've actually gotten rid of the phase 1 account stats because obviously I've passed it now. So if I just do a brief summary of the phase 2 account. So as you see, we had this little bit of drawdown at the start, which was basically my mistake. I entered a trade at spread hours and my broker actually tagged me in about 20 pips above my stop loss, which was only 10 pips, meaning that if it would have hit stop loss, I would have lost 3% instead of 1. So I just closed the trade for like a $10 loss in order to avoid that potentially 3% loss, just due to that stupid mistake. So then after that, we did take another trade, which was a 1 to 5, and I risked 1% on that trade. So that passed the challenge. So overall, we only took 2 trades on this account in order to pass the challenge. So that was very nice. If we go down here, you can see that profit target was met. And we only took these 2 trades. We had one on EU, which was the trade that I closed pretty much at break even to avoid that big loss, and then we had the UJ 1 to 5, which I'm going to save for the mentorship group, so I'm not going to break that down here. If you want to learn how I caught that trade, you can join the mentorship group, but the one I'm going to be breaking down was the EU trade because it did actually go on to hit the take profit. So yeah, if we go into my exact risk management strategy now, and then I'll take you through the breakdown of the EU trade. Alright guys, so very briefly, let's go through the risk management strategy that I'm using. So it's a very simple strategy, and I think this is where a lot of people go wrong when they take the challenges. It is because their risk management is off and also their psychology. So what I did for this challenge, I used 1% risk per trade. So every trade I was risking $100, and my minimum risk to reward was a 1 to 3. If the trade was less than a 1 to 3, I simply don't take it. And the only other risk management rules that I actually have are make break even before high impact news. Otherwise, I don't make trades break even. I either let them run to the take profit or the stop loss. Reason being, I found that a lot of the times when my trades actually hit take profit, price will often go say 3% in my favor, come back, retest the entry before then go into the intended take profit that I had. So I stopped making trades break even except before high impact news. And the reason I do that is because you can get lots of slippage. So for example, if CPI comes out and price is at my entry point, then I could potentially lose say 3% instead of the intended 1%, just because the broker doesn't take me out at the correct stop loss due to the volatility surrounding the news. And the other thing, I only take max 2 trades per day, and even that is very rare. Normally I'd only take between, I'd say, 3 to 5 trades per month, so on average maybe one per week. Very rare that I'll take 2 trades per day, but even if I do that, notice how the maximum loss would be 2%, so I'm never going to violate the daily drawdown rule, which is a total of 5%. So yeah, you shouldn't really be failing the challenges because of the daily drawdown rules, because it's as simple as if you lose 4 trades in a day, risking 1%, just don't take the 5th trade, come back the next day, and then you're never going to break that rule. And yeah, best setups only, meaning that I'm only going to take what I consider an A+ setup, which has all of my different confluences and basically a trade where everything just aligns perfectly. Otherwise, I'm not going to take it because I don't really need to. You know, I did on myfundedfx, they have an infinite time limit, so you don't have a time limit basically, so there is no need to rush the setups. I wait for the perfect ones only, and that is basically the entire risk management strategy. Very simple. So in summary, 1% per trade always, and the only times I'll make break even is before high impact news. So if we go to the charts now, and I'll break down one of the trades that I took in order to pass the challenge. And I'm going to be breaking down the EU trade as this was a very clean setup. Okay, so if we play it back to here, EU was kind of just in a range all week. It wasn't the cleanest price action. But overall, if we just look at the higher time frame direction, you can see that we have had this 4-hour break of structure. On the 4-hour, it looks like just a wick, but if we go to the daily time frame, the 1-hour time frame, sorry, you can see that we had this closure above it, and price hasn't broken this low yet, which is the major swing low of the current higher time frame trend, meaning price is currently still bullish. And what I noticed was that we had this pullback. Price came into this sort of area, which was a lower time frame demand that I had marked out. We also took out this area of liquidity. You can say this area just here as well. Just there, we had that mini trend line that was taken out. Price then took out these equal lows. And then once price took out those equal lows, it made this imbalanced area of demand, broke past this structure here, also failed to hold this area of supply. So my area of interest was this 1-hour level of demand, just here. So I waited for price to react from that area and look for a confirmation entry. So when price came into this area, we wicked out the bottom of the demand, but personally, I wouldn't consider that the demand to have failed. I would have considered this just to be a liquidity grab. This normally happens when you get very clean levels of supply and demand like this, where loads of traders will be looking at. Price normally will wick out that area before then going in the intended direction. So as for the actual confirmation I used was on the 15-minute. If we play price, you can see price came into this area of supply, pushed down a little bit, but then we actually got that change of character or break of structure just here on the 15-minute. So if we label that as a 15-minute break of structure, on the 5-minute it's more clear to see. So we have this pullback, lower low, lower high, lower low. Price then breaks that, printing a higher high. So we can anticipate that next comes a higher low. And an area that I was looking at taking, placing a limit on was this area down here, because it is that very clean level of demand, which left this imbalance, wasn't retested. This wick induced it. So I was seeing this as the sort of area of liquidity above. So at this point, we just set the limit on this area. And I was originally targeting this zone here. As you can see, this was a very nice level of supply. This one I was seeing as liquidity, just based on how it looked. I didn't see price reacting from it. And yeah, let's see how the trade played out. So as you see, price came into the area and then gave that a very impulsive reaction back up, pretty much breaking this minor structure immediately afterwards. But as I said, this was the trade where it got tagged in at 11 o'clock, which is when brokers normally do their rollover and the spreads widen. So my broker actually tagged me in about here at 09621, which obviously is about triple my stop loss size, meaning that I would have lost 3% if that had hit stop loss, which is why I made the decision just to close that at break even, or for a small loss even $10, so 0.1% of the account. But ultimately, if we play price on, you can see that I did eventually hit the take profit, like so, and came a little bit higher, but overall this was the area I was expecting it to react from. And then after that, price melted straight through the stop loss, as you can see. So it was almost a sniper exit. Price came a little bit above this area. So yeah, that was the EU trade that we took. The other one was the UJ trade, but I saved that for my mentorship group, which I'll leave a link to in the description if you want to join. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. And if you have any questions, leave them in the link below. I'll also leave a link to my signals group where I call all of these trades and I send them as limits. So you will always get the same entry as me. You don't need to worry about market execution or rushing into the trades. They will always be limits. And I also do a Sunday market analysis video for that group as well. So if you want to join that and you're interested in joining, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But I will see you guys in the next video.